The topic for the Fireside Chat, ladies and gentlemen, is Transforming BFSI, Navigating Innovation, Regulation and Digital Disruption. I'll first announce our session chair for this. We have Manas Gulati ji, co-founder and CEO Arm Worldwide, to moderate this session. Please give it up for Manas, sir, once again, please. Thank you so much, sir, doing it for us once again. Huge round of applause for him, please. And we also have with us, the pleasure of having with us today, Sapna Desai ji, Chief Marketing Officer, Manipal Cigna Health Insurance. Sapna ji ke liye bhi everybody please bajaye zor se taali. Thank you.
So what we're talking about right now is digital disruption in the BFSI segment. And just prior to this, both of us were discussing as to where it all started from and where it has come to, and a lot of regulatory things which have also come into picture. I remember when we started working with Bajaj Finserv back in the day, some 11 years back, there weren't much of regulations like that, but over a period of time it has evolved as much as till the recent chain of events where the ASCI guidelines came in as well, where everybody was almost in a panic to submit all their creatives, submit all their works, and just to make sure that everything is in line with all the compliances in place. So with that said, as the background, my first question is that what all disruption do you see in the next 2-3 years in the BFSI segment, and how do you think things will pan out from there?
Good evening. Thanks. So this is about future gazing. But I think as we kind of think about the future and what you look at predictions, I was just thinking about it that if sometime back we thought that we don't have to go to a bank branch to do transactions, people would have said, they would have laughed. Or that you can spend an entire day or maybe even a vacation outside without your wallet. Literally anywhere you can now travel with the mobile money, so to say. I mean, we have come a very, very far way in BFSI. And I personally have been in the sector for almost 20 years. Insurance, a bit of banking, a bit of financial services side too. And it's been, and worked with various regulators, part of various FICCI committees along this journey. So I think what's really, I feel that this, the moment that we are in right now in BFSI is unprecedented. The amount of opportunities, movement, future disruptions, the scale is so much more in the last 1 or 2 years than in the last 5-10 years ago. So, and I think it's going to only go much faster. So I just want to kind of say some, data points that if you look at the BFSI growth overall, it's been around 31-35% across sector. So that's, really starting point from a business point of view. And if you look at why, what are the things playing out in our favor? I think on the consumer side, and I think every BFSI starts pre-COVID, post-COVID, but what happens there is the whole digital adoption. So how consumers have started adopting digital, which has allowed a lot of scaling. I think that's one great opportunity that we are on at this point of time. The other thing also, because of the digital adoption and a lot of technology available, is the customer-centric, innovation I might use, or simplicity or journey simplifications from the various companies' point of view. So, a lot of companies, because of the competition, are now really becoming very customer-centric. So I think that's, another great opportunity that's happening. And I think the opportunity area for BFSI as we look forward is a lot of regulatory reforms. I mean, I'm currently in insurance, and with this whole mandate of insurance for all by 2047, building up this whole Bima Trinity platform, Bima Sugam, Bima Vistar, single product, single platform, a lot of simplification of introducing new products. So the regulator and the regulations are becoming very empowering in many ways. So I think that's a great ecosystem that we are building. Along with this, there are some challenges that are happening. Again, I think the regulatory, reforms also bring in challenges of how resilient you are. Like composite license coming in, things moving very fast. Your entire machinery of sales can kind of change very fast. So I think building resilience into your systems, into your journey is becoming very important. I think both resilience and agility. And the competition is also really kind of amplified. So I think I want to end this before I give it back to Jill. That I think what's also becoming very important is from a business point of view. There is an increased cost of doing business. So how do companies going forward in BFSI, stay sustainable, profitable, relevant at one end, and provide the best of customer experience and expectation to the customer on the other end. So that's, I think, if I had to put it, that's the key, goal, both from companies' point of view and customers' point of view. And I think towards that is where the whole technology, regulation all comes in, that how to empower that goal.
Sure, sure. So, completely agree with a lot of points which you've said. Like, I remember when we started, we all used to calibrate leads, and then the offline sales team used to do those calls, get those conversions in, and then everything used to happen. To right now, where everything, from the back end to the front end, like, from a Salesforce integration to the marketing spends which are happening, they're getting aligned, and people are optimizing on the end goals rather than just the marketing spends and the marketing platforms which are there, which I think is like a huge leap forward from where it was. Because earlier it was quite a lot of spray and pray, because it was a lot of new user acquisition also happening, and and people used to look at what is the cost of a new user which you're getting into the system. But right now, retrenching of the current customers, getting a value out of them, and making sure that it does not go out of the system is something which people have started concentrating on. What they've also done, because a person is a captive customer once he buys your product, be it an insurance product or a lending product or anything else. So people have defined as to the life cycle of the individual as well, and how the communication will be happening with somebody who's a new user, which is awareness, for instance. Somebody who's not predisposed to a brand but is in the category, might not be happy with the brand which he is has adopted. So there's a pure play of the competition coming into play, and bidding for your things, and reaching out to you, and trying to convert you into a customer. And also the customer who's loyal to you. You reach out to him through certain set of communications, through some value add, through some things. For instance, we were discussing about Aditya Birla insurance, and in fact Manipal as well has come into play the health data. Health data comes into play in defining the premium which the customer pays to you. So that has become very, very smart, which I think forays into the category of hyper personalization as well. We already spoke about technology, improvement, in the overall ecosystem to reach out to customers. So that has, come into the forefront very, very nicely. I think the next question, therefore, and you spoke about a lot of regulatory things, which are there. So my next question, therefore, is that there are a lot of regulations which are coming up day in and day out, and how you as Manipal Signa Insurance and otherwise in your earlier organization navigated through all these regulatory things to make sure that everything is seamless.
I think that's very important, and I think one thing that we kind of believe in at Manipal Signa, and I'm sure many of our players do it that way, that the regulator is actually a partner. So and all of us are together working in the consumer interest. So I think once you have that mindset, I think compliance and regulation is some a team that you really collaborate with to achieve the goals. So maybe the recent guideline changes, or anything. So it's like, I think we are very, very tuned to work towards that. So for example, we recently launched a new product, which is Manipal Signa Sarva, which takes which has because of all these the guidelines and the regulators incentives on product, the behavior of the product development process was so much faster, so much easier to launch. And we have innovations built in, which is again, as we kind of mentioned, on personalization, on rewards. So they are all coming from various product guidelines along the way. So it's a really a partnership process on regulation. And once we realize that this is in the consumer's interest, I think it's all about how fast, how soon can you navigate that change.
Sure. Wonderfully, articulated. My next question is that we all like, specifically in this category where data plays a very important role in keeping the customer segments and identifying which one might be a keen customer to the one who's not predisposed to somebody who's just not in the frame, not even disposed to the category. How important is data and analytics, and how do you use data and analytics in marketing and in the other processes of selling an insurance to an individual?
So it's a Friday evening. Okay, so I'm going to try this answer in a very simple, non-jargon way, because these questions get very jargonized also. So I'm going to attempt this. So really, if you look at the data that a BFSI generates on a daily basis, the entire sector, it's like, there'll be huge numbers of multiple data points being generated every single day, every single transaction, every single payment, every single premium collection, every interaction. So the amount of data that this industry generates is probably one of the highest. I've heard, one of the reports was talking about highest in the world from an India perspective. So now this data that we have, I think from a company and organization's point of view, is really about, it brings in the play about the data security. How the data is structured, how is it built together in pieces. And the more structured, the more on cloud, and that's where it's all going really, because the way you use data can hamper, it's not only about marketing, it's really about business. I think starting from your pricing, your offering to the customer. So for example, from an insurance point of view, a healthy customer having a premium, a healthy lifestyle being rewarded, which is what we do in our products also. We have a feature called proactive living, where if you are living a healthy lifestyle, number of steps that you do, you get a reduction in your premium. But that's really like a really, tip of the iceberg kind of a thing. So I think one space where I wanted to go is that I think the data that we are generating from a BFSI perspective has to enable us in the right way for business. Starting from the business model, which is the pricing, the operations of it, how fast can we access the data to provide the right answers to the customers. The customer queries, so again that's where your chatbots, your automation processes come in, starting from how you are structuring, how the various systems are talking to each other. For us, for example, right from onboarding to payment to renewal to the various transaction data that you're capturing. In a banking sector, again similarly, from your loans, your insurance, to your fixed deposits, how is the integration? So I think that's of course one whole space for the whole efficiency, operational efficiency, product design. So I think that's one whole space. I think the other area which is becoming very important from data analytics is this whole thing, of fraud control and security. So how secure is your data, cyber security and all is one aspect. And also from an efficiency point, how can we leverage data, from making behaviors, patterns, fraud detection, so that again it becomes good on your bottom line. So how data can improve your bottom line and how data can grow your top line. तो बस I think वो दो simple चीजें हैं कि आप data को कैसे use करोगे to improve your bottom line, which is efficiency, fraud control, and then how do you use data to scale, which is where marketing now gets in. The top line को कैसे increase करना है, what cohorts, what segments, how do you use it for retention, so that customer acquisition is one part of the story. How do you do cross-sell, upsell, bring more products in, how do you bring value-added services in, so that you kind of leverage that. forward. So all the things that you're hearing, and I'm sure they are probably the one of the end of the lot of panels have happened before us. So everybody would have talked about the similar things, but I think simplicity is, I think, it's a very important topic of discussion right now. Various companies are doing a lot of things to impact two goals, increase and scale your top line in a cost efficient way. Reduce bottom line so that you manage your P&L very well. I think that's where I'd like to tell about this.
Okay, so I'd also like to add an example. When you said cross-sell and upsell, very interesting thing which some of our customers are doing. For a category like EMI card, for instance, that the cohorts are based on the products which people have bought and the life cycle of the product. For instance, like for a mobile phone is 1.5 years or a year, for instance, or a washing machine is 5 years. So they have cut like that data point across. So somebody who's bought a washing machine, say 4 years back, is a person who's in that cohort and can be shown something, around a washing machine. Similarly for a mobile phone and so on and so forth. So that really helps. And what has also happened, in this is all being automated as well through AI. That all the cohorting is done through AI, basis of course the process, which is built into the system and the learnings which are coming from the system. And through that, it is being done. Again, like the next point which you said was fraud detection. Any anomaly in the data set, is an indication that there might be a fraud which has happened or an excess performance, which largely is not the case. Most of the times, it is a fraud which has happened when there is any anomaly, in the data set. And it has also helped is to reduce the CAC over a period of time. It's not always that you are, just advertising, for awareness across. You're cohorting people into present customers. You cohorting people into people like who regularly engage with you as well, and make them brand disposed if they are not. So those data sets and analytics work very well at a larger level. So that's completely in agreement with what you said. The last point, and because we are short of time as well, today's the entire landscape is changing into an omni-channel experience, sort of a lifestyle in which everybody is available all the time to cater to a certain customer. So what changes and as an organization or otherwise in your previous organizations did you see happen there? So as to deal with each of these elements which have come through competition and also through technological advancement.
Very true. So I think for us, let me start with maybe my current organization. I think one key thing is that we are looking at being a partner, and that's what we say, partner both in illness and wellness. So at every step of the journey. So insurance is typically, you buy insurance and then when you have a claim, you come back in the middle, you pay the renewal. Of course, each of those moments, there has been a lot of work that we've done to expand, make it simpler, make it more personal, have the touch points which are very tailored to the customer. So I think there's a lot of work that's happening on the key moments. And apart from that, where we are, I think, also understanding and moving to, and also the industry, is that how customer engagement, in BFSI is playing a role. So recently we did a campaign where we used generative AI and created this thing, and you can check that out. It's called Mini Mindful Moments. So for each individual customer, taking 60 seconds and finding your idea of bliss. So you could go there, choose that my idea of bliss is stargazing and or at the beach, and tailored to that person. It's a short mini video that gets created, and we use that in engagement, communication, and so that's like one whole genre of work. I think the second thing which, to answer your question, or maybe a little broader than that, but I do see this happening, is like reaching out to Bharat. Moving really beyond tier 1, tier 2 goes over, tier 3, tier 4. And then that's again where personalization, content differentiation, message differentiation, and again the journey touchpoint differentiation plays up. So the omni-channel journey. And that also plays up with the different channels of communication, because you're scaling up, you're reaching beyond. you have various channels. So you have your agent that's going and selling physical. You have your online digital system. So it's an entire phygital model that you are now working in across
There's a 24/7 support. If there are distributors who are working with you, their education is also important in the language which they can speak to the end customer. And one of the examples around this was that we're working with an insurance player in which what we're doing is we are educating people for digital marketing, like people who are distributors for digital marketing, so that they are enabled and they're of course brand disposed because of what they are doing, and which also creates a circle of influence in and around them, which helps in the whole omni-channel experience. Also creating a lot of content in different languages, like we can get the data out as to what people are searching for in different languages, customizing it accordingly, and reaching out to that set of customer, both from a paid, earned, and owned point of view. Maybe if it's a point of sale, or if it's an emailer which comes to you, or a WhatsApp innovation which comes to you, and circling around the individual, considering the IP or the email ID which is there at the center, and then reaching out to that individual through various means. Of course, not bombarding them, but creating a brand salience around them, so that that's the brand they choose after that. So that's where.
great example, because it's not just about name personalization anymore, it's content personalization.
Absolutely. I think our time's up in terms of this panel, and thank you so much for being with us, and thank you.